Hey everybody, just wanted to do another quick vlog. Those of you who have been around for a while can probably guess the main reason why I'm doing this, but I just wanted to comment on some recent stuff in general, talk about some upcoming stuff, and yeah, just in general talk about some stuff. Alright, let's start off by talking about Madoka Magica. There's been some slight complications in my actual viewing of it, which is annoying because I only have like 4 episodes to go. Yeah, some things have come up. I'm not going to go into details, it's too long of an explanation, but some things have come up that have made it difficult for me to watch, but those things look to be pretty much over now. But the thing is, even if I do get to watch the remaining 4 episodes I have, like say, if I get to watch them next week or whatever, it's still maybe quite a while before we see KHF's final thoughts on the series. Reason being, with upcoming events such as MCM and stuff, I've got a lot that I need to take care of. Not just in regards to MCM, but there's some other things that are coming up as well. And that will make it difficult to, well, not only get the script written out for KHF's final thoughts, but also to get around to filming it and then editing it and whatnot. So even if I do finish the series, you might have to wait a little while before we see KHF's final thoughts on the series. You might not. In the past, when I've said, oh, it may take a little while to do something, it takes about 3 days. So, so you know, I don't know what's going to happen. It's just as it stands at this point in time, it looks like it may take a while, but that could all change tomorrow. That could all change, and I could wind up getting it up. KHF's final thoughts up in time before MCM, but as things stand at the moment, it looks more than likely that I'll get KHF's final thoughts done after the MCM Expo. And also, on top of doing KHF's final thoughts, I'm also thinking of following that up with possibly a vlog quite similar to this, basically just discussing my own thoughts on the series and stuff out of character and stuff, because, you know, obviously KHF's thoughts do, you know, they are similar to mine, but obviously with KHF it's all exaggerated. He's all like, oh, I love this anime, oh, I hate this anime, yada yada yada, and obviously my actual thoughts aren't quite that exaggerated. Obviously I'm not actually like that, and there's a couple of factors about Madoka where, well, you might get the wrong impression from KHF's final thoughts as opposed to my own, so I think I'm thinking of doing this vlog afterwards to basically just set the record straight in regards to some factors. Those of you who have watched the series might know what I'm talking about, but at the same time you might not. So yeah, I know not as many of my subscribers watch these vlogs, and I perfectly understand why. That's perfectly fine. But for those, I just thought of starting it up as kind of like a thing for those who are curious as what I, as a person, have to say on a series. So, you know, you might see that as well after KHF's final thoughts on Madoka Magica, and if people take to that well, we'll see where I go from there. Alright, another thing I wanted to talk about is that in the KHF's reaction to Madoka Magica Episode 1 video, I did mention how I've now played The World Ends of You, because of course last year when I did KHF's reaction to Kingdom Hearts 3D, I said I'd never played this game, which I hadn't at the time, but early this year I actually decided to buy a copy of the game to see what the big deal is, because I've heard a lot of great things about this game. A lot of people saying that it's the greatest RPG ever made, one of their favourite games of all time, so I thought I'd get a copy of the game and yeah, just see what I thought of it. I just thought I'd talk about my thoughts of the game now in case anybody was at all curious as to what I thought in this game. I'm gonna try to avoid spoilers as much as I possibly can. We'll see how it goes, because I do tend to run my mouth. Okay, like I say, a lot of people consider this the greatest RPG, or indeed the greatest video game ever made, and obviously some of you are going to wonder, do I agree with this statement? Do I agree this is the greatest video game ever made? Well, while I did enjoy the game, yes, I really very much enjoyed the game, I did like the game, but I don't necessarily agree with the statement that this is the greatest RPG ever made, or indeed the greatest video game ever made. But both those titles to me will always belong to Final Fantasy IX. But while I don't agree that this is the greatest RPG ever made in my personal opinion, I can perfectly understand why people do think that and why they would say that. And I'll get back to that point in just a minute as to why that is. So while I don't agree with the statement, I do agree it's a good game. I did enjoy it, and I perfectly understand why people say this is the greatest game they've ever played. It's definitely one of the most unique RPGs I've ever played. I like how it handles the touchscreen functionality of the DS. I think that's incorporated really well. I like the way the different pins work and stuff, the different motions you have to do for them and stuff. The dual combat, like the partner team combat thing, that does take some getting used to, but well, once you get the hang of it, it's simple enough to do. I prefer to have the computer control my partner most of the time because I have so much crap going on the screen at once. I'm like, right, I'll let the computer handle my partner and I'll just control Neku the whole game. But definitely one of the more unique RPGs I've ever played in that regard, and I had a lot of fun playing it. There's not really anything new I can bring to the table in terms of, and I'm using this term very loosely in regards to what I'm doing, but there's really not a lot I can bring to the table in regards to reviewing this game because, well, let's face it, this game's been out for years now, and what's been said about it has been said about it. So in terms of reviewing, there's not a lot I can bring to the table because I'm very late to the party. But I just wanted to basically discuss the different experience playing this game as an adult, as opposed to playing this game as a teenager, because I think that is wherein it lies that people say that this is the greatest game ever. The reason I think a lot of people proclaim this as the greatest game ever, or their favourite game ever, is because quite a lot of the audience, when they bought the game, were similar ages to the characters. They were around 15, maybe 16 or so, and as such, when they played the game, they could actually relate to a lot of the problems that the characters themselves were going through. I imagine a lot of people playing this game were going through a very, very difficult period in their lives, like we all do when we're around that age. I imagine they were going through a very difficult period in their lives, and I've seen a lot of people who, when they are going through that period in their lives, use things like anime, video games, comic books, or what have you, as kind of an escapism from these kinds of problems, kind of a way to get away from those problems for a while and just enjoy themselves. And more often than not, these people who do use these things as an escapism kind of get, well, very personally attached to said form of media because, you know, it brings them such happiness, so therefore they get emotionally tied to it. I'm not necessarily saying it's right, but I'm saying I understand why they do that. Like I said, I don't necessarily think it's right because I think I don't necessarily think a bit of escapism is bad. I don't think it's bad to get lost in a good story or whatever. But the fact is that you do eventually have to, once you've say like you're reading a good story in the book, you do eventually have to close the book and face reality again, which a lot of people in this period in their life don't want to do because life for them is so difficult. Once again, I'm not necessarily condoning the idea because I don't think you should get emotionally attached to any form of fiction to the point where you don't want to face reality. But I'm saying I do understand how you feel. I understand because life growing up, as a teenager is tough. You do go through a lot of crap as a teenager. And I can't really criticize these people because those of you who were around on my old channel in the very, very early days when I was still a teenager myself might remember I was a bit attached to certain things. Oh gosh, it was terrible. It was awful. But yeah, I can perfectly understand because you know, that period in your life is a very, very difficult time. You know, coming of age, it's a very, very difficult time for anybody. So you know, I understand what these people are going through. As such, if you were to say to these people, say, that life does improve and that you know from experience, it's not really going to mean much to them because they kind of have to experience it for themselves before they're actually going to believe you. Speaking from experience here. But the thing is, these things they use as their forms of escapism, their themes and messages tend to get through to them a lot more because, like I say, they've got a personal attachment to them because they almost use them as an anti-drug in a way to find happiness in them. As such, I think this is the case with The World Ends With You. I think what attracts a lot of the players to this game, like I said, is that they're a similar age to the characters and they can understand the problems they're going through and they can relate to them. When I was playing the game myself, I actually could remember going through a lot of these problems myself when I was a similar age to the characters. In fact, Neku actually reminded me a lot of myself when I was 15. He actually did remind me a lot of myself when I was 15, not just because he's ginger. No, he did remind me a lot of myself when I was around 15, which is probably why I didn't like him initially, because, well, it was, you know, seeing a side of myself that I wasn't exactly proud of. But yeah, going back to the point, yeah, a lot of people can relate to these characters and the problems that they're facing. And as such, as they see characters overcome these problems and begin to grow stronger, like such as Neku growing more compassionate and letting people into his life in order to help him, as they see the characters overcoming these problems, these people in turn, like, this speaks to them and their problems, and it gives them encouragement in knowing that, you know, that they too can change and overcome these problems if they just, you know, open up and let people help them and whatnot, or to be more confident in who they are and stuff. And I think these themes speak a lot to people, like I say, speak a lot to the people around that age and gave them a lot of encouragement. And as such, I think that is why they hold it in such a special place in their hearts. Because it gave them encouragement for you know, the future of their lives and stuff and the problems that they're facing. I mean, if I were playing this game as I was when I was a teenager, I probably would be in the same boat as these people, agreeing that it's the greatest game ever made and my favourite game of all time. But I played this game as an adult, so as such it was a different experience for me. Seeing the characters and how they interact was kind of like looking back for me. Looking back to how I used to be. I actually saw like a lot of problems I went through as a teenager reflected in all of the characters, really. Not just in Neku, but like all the characters. I'm just saying in terms of personality, I was probably closest to Neku when I was about 15. So yeah, what I'm saying is it's just a different experience playing it as an adult. As a teenager playing this game, you relate to the game more. As an adult playing the game, it's more like you're looking back on how you used to be and problems you've overcome. Because I've since overcome all these problems that I was having. You know, I'd already overcome them when I was playing the game. So, you know, in that regard, the story didn't help me with overcoming my problems. But for a teenager going through those problems currently, yeah, this game would help them. And in that regard, I understand completely why this is a lot of people's favourite game and why some people consider it the greatest game of all time. I'm just saying that because I've already overcome these problems, I'm not in the same boat in that regard, but I did enjoy the game. It was a lot of fun, and again, I could look at the characters and look back on how I used to be and what I've overcome. So, in a way, there's almost something there for everybody, in a sense. There's something there for everybody, not just teenagers, not just adults. You know, there's something in there for everybody. But yeah, no, it's a very enjoyable game. I just want to explain why I personally wouldn't regard it as the greatest game ever. But, like I say, if I had played this game when it was new, I probably would be saying that. But the fact is, I didn't, so I don't. But I can understand why people would think it is, and I don't fault them for it. They have their thoughts, I have mine. I don't fault them at all for... If they think this is the greatest game of all time, more power to them. That's great. That's good for you. I don't necessarily agree, but that's just me. A lot of people say it's got one of the greatest soundtracks in a video game of all time. I will say I did enjoy a lot of the music tracks in the game. I thought a lot of them are pretty good. Heck, the song "Calling" has actually become one of my favourite video game tracks of all time. I suggest looking that one up. Yeah, that's actually one of my favourite tracks of all time now. I really enjoy the track. Even though the lyrics to it kind of sound like they've been translated directly from Japanese. But, I don't know, there's just a personal enjoyment I get out of the song. I don't know, maybe some of the lyrics, while not making a lot of sense, relate to my current life. I don't know, but I personally really love that song. I enjoy a lot of the tracks from the game, but not all of them were to my taste, because there's various different genres of music in the game, but I think that's another plus of the game, in that, you know, because there's a variety of genres of music, everybody's going to find a track they like, a track they don't like, so there's good variety, much more so than I've seen in other video games, and again, it's more that there's something for everybody in the game. So in that regards, it's a good soundtrack, it's a good game, if you haven't played it yet, I do recommend picking it up. If you're one of these people who's going through a very hard time in life, and you know, use things like anime and video games as escapism and stuff, I suggest playing this game, because like I say, this is gonna speak to you more than me just saying that life will improve for you will. I think if you're one of these people, you'll really connect to this game and you'll really enjoy it, and it probably will change your outlook on life, because one of the main themes of the game's story I found was that life is worth living. At least that's what I got from it, as one of the game's main themes, and I think that's it, like I say, what helped a lot of these people. Alright, moving on to the next topic. Sorry, I kind of rambled on there with The World Ends With You. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Yeah, I talked about that a lot more than I thought I was going to. But anyway, MCM, the London MCM Expo is in 2 weeks, and am I going? Well, yes I am. Yes, I am going to this one, and what's my costume going to be this time around? Well, let's take a look. Hey, how's it going? Yep, that's right, it's Simone, which will probably shock a lot of people because of KHF's whole thing about Gurren Lagann in my videos, that KHF never wants to talk about it, for reasons to do with his backstory. So, naturally that's going to raise the question if me cosplaying as Simone to this expo has anything to do with a future video I've got planned, or any future projects and stuff. Well, like I said in the last MCM Expo vlog that I did, I said that after I cosplayed as Archer, which I did to the last con, every other costume from then on out was just going to be for fun. It wasn't going to have anything to do with my videos or anything, because, you know, like I say, Archer is at some point going to play a part in my KHF videos, but I said from then on out it was all going to be about fun, or just going to be cosplaying for fun. Not that it wasn't fun with the other costumes, it's just with them I also had the ulterior motive of having a way to include them in my videos, whereas from Archer onwards it was all going to be for fun, and as such that's how it's going to be with Simone. The Simone costume is honestly, at this point in time, just for fun. It's just, yeah, just a costume I'm wearing for fun. Have no real plans to incorporate him into my videos yet. We never know what the future holds, because after all, KHF's got his thing about Gurren Lagann, so you never know what the future holds, but as it stands right now, this is just for fun. What the hell do you mean? I don't get a full-term contract like the others do? Just who the hell do you think I am? Simone, at the end of your series, you become a hobo. Nothing beats the hobo life, stabbing folks with my hobo knife. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, if you're going to the London MCM Expo in 2 weeks, look out for me in my Simone costume there. Come say hi. I don't bite. So if you want to come say hello, you can. Just come up to me, say hello, talk about anime, whatever. And I think that's really about it. Really, I've talked, I say, a lot more than I intended to, because I got kind of into a thing about The World Ends With You. But yeah, I think that's about everything. So yeah, hopefully we'll get things with Madoka sorted before MCM, but not promising anything. Might be post-MCM, might be pre-MCM. We'll just have to play this one by ear. It all depends on how real life plays out. But I will try and get things sorted. One interview, good game. Good game, especially if you're one of these people in a very difficult place in life who use video games, anime, and stuff as escapism. Check it out. Check it out because it might speak to you. And yeah, look out for me cosplaying as Simone at the next MCM Expo. Oh, let me tell you, since I got my hair cut short, putting on wigs is now a lot easier than it used to be. Now that I've got my hair cut. But yeah, look out for that costume there. So that's about everything, guys. I'll talk to you later.